Now let's talk about the adaptation of aquatic organisms to gaseous exchange. How are aquatic organisms, they can be animals and plants, how are they adapted to gaseous exchange? Now for the case of the plants, you'll find that they have more stomata on the upper epidermis than the lower epidermis, because the lower epidermis is in contact with water and oxygen does not easily diffuse out of water into the leaves, so they have more stomatas on the upper surface than on the lower surface. And other plants like the mangroves, for them they have the breathing roots. Though they are staying in water, the roots will grow above the water surface and they will absorb oxygen through the water above, by breathing roots which are above the water surface. Now many organisms have air spaces in their tissues, especially the plants. There are air tissues in the tissues, and these air spaces help to absorb more oxygen and keep more oxygen into these spaces that can be used by the plant. Now when it comes to animals, especially the vertebrates that stay in water, they will always come periodically out on the surface to absorb or to take in oxygen and then go deep under the water surface. But after a certain period of time, when the oxygen that was inhaled has been used, they will come back again on the surface and take in more oxygen. Then others have got what we call the symphony that extend above the water surface, and in insect larvae they are also used. They go up, absorb air from the water surface, and it is taken and used into the body. Then other organisms have the gills, like the fish. They use the gills to absorb oxygen from the water body. And having oxygen carrier pigment. Some organisms have oxygen carrier pigments that attract oxygen and absorb more oxygen. Those are some of the plants. And then others, like the insects, in the beetle, they have a tendency of trapping air bubbles, and they extract this oxygen from those air bubbles. So we are looking at the adaptations by aquatic organisms to gaseous exchange, and we have said that more stomatas are on the upper surface than on the lower surface, and they breathe through breathing roots like the mangrove. We have looked at the vertebrates that come out on the surface periodically to take in air, and we have looked at the symphonies that are extended above the level of water surface in the case of the insect larvae and the pupa. Then we also have the gills that are used by fish, and then also we can have the oxygen carrying pigment which help in the absorption of more oxygen and utilization of this oxygen. But the last and not the least is the tapping of the air bubbles, which can be used to absorb oxygen by use of the air bubbles. Thank you for staying with us.